Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It's Anita Tadavarthy, your acupuncturist friend. Today I wanted to do a segment on doing your best to have a flat stomach. There's some things that I've learned along the way that has helped me tremendously, and I wanted to pass along to you. Before we step into it, just a really quick bio. I've been doing acupressure for 20 years. I've had a chain of clinics on the West Coast. I'm back home in the Washington, D.C. area. Ran a free clinic outside of Hyderabad, India. Writing a couple of books. Also treated 45,000 patients. Been a witness in court trials. Taught at acupuncture schools. I think you get the idea that I am an expert in the field. And also, the majority of acupuncturists in the world are not primary care physicians. So please, I urge you to see your doctor. This is all to augment the recommendations of your physician. So, as far as a flat stomach is concerned, one thing that I've realized being raised as an Indian in America is that we've got to curb the carbs at nighttime. I'm a really big fan of intermittent fasting, and let me explain to you what I've observed among my 20 years. What I've observed is that the closer and smaller your window of eating is, the better results you have. And the closer the window is of the eating time to kind of midday, if you have a work day and not working at night and not eating so much at night, the better the results you have. So let me explain a very good example for you. Let's say you wake up at 7 and let's say you're at work at 8 or 9. You can break the fast by a coffee or a tea. I'm Indian, so I love a chai in the morning. And then what I urge you to do is eat at noon or lunchtime. During this time, you can have carbs. Have all the carbs that you want. Of course, in moderation, but this is a good time to have carbs. Or you can also do a high protein lunch at this time. And the reason why you want to eat carbs during this time is that it'll burn it off during the day, during the best time of the day when you're the most active. And if you happen to have protein during that time, it'll also take its time to run through your system. And then around 3 o'clock, I want you to have a healthy snack. And then do your very best to wrap up eating and have a light meal at 8 p.m. and keep it healthy. So if you do this, this is called 16 and 8. What that means is that you're not eating for 16 hours of the day and you're only eating for 8 hours of the day. Now, why does this help with having a flat stomach? Well, what I noticed is over the years that I've tried intermittent fasting and also played around with it and watched my patients do it, is that the more we eat during the midday and the less we eat at nighttime, if you have that schedule waking up at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, is that we're not as bloated when we're going to bed, and we have had a chance to burn through the food during the best part of the day when we're most active. So we go to bed more on an empty stomach, and we can enjoy that absorption while we are sleeping. And so because we're giving the body more of a time to work, then you have less of a chance of being bloated and you have less of a chance of having an inflated stomach. So that is a good tip that you can do and incorporate to help you feel your best. When I do intermittent fasting, I notice I'm much less bloated, and I'm also a lot more clear and focused because the resources in my body are not having to deal with the GI. It can have more blood flow for me to focus. Now, the second thing you can do for a flat stomach is also monitor what you're eating. We have sensitivities to foods. Some foods we are simply allergic to. Some foods we have a sensitivity to. Some foods we're not at all allergic to. And what I've noticed for myself, this is a great example, is if I were to do carbs, to do them during the middle of the day, because during that time I can work it out, and I've noticed that certain breads and certain rice I'm actually a little sensitive to. So if I can do that in the middle of the day, then I get a chance to work through that during the best part of the day. And also, I've also noticed that if I am paying attention to the foods that I can and cannot do, then if I can avoid the foods that I'm sensitive to, then I'm not going to have an allergic reaction such as having an inflated or bloated stomach. So I guess what I'm saying here is that watch what you eat. And if you feel that you're not feeling quite right, a way that it manifests in your body is that you don't have a flat stomach. It's bloated. And if you're starting to notice, I eat this food and I become bloated, then you know you have a sensitivity or you're allergic to that food. And you can confirm this by, if you eat a food and you don't feel quite right, within 20 minutes, if you take your blood pressure and it's higher than it normally is, then you're most likely sensitive and or allergic to that food. I tell you this so that if you can practice intermittent fasting, and in addition to intermittent fasting, you watch what you eat and you notice what you're allergic to or what you're sensitive to, and you avoid those foods, you have a greater chance of having a flatter stomach because there's no sensitivity, which is causing bloating and other resources that are needed to your body and that cannot help you in other ways. The third thing that there's been PubMed research on is there's a great way to alkalize the acid in your stomach. And if you're able to do that, you can enjoy a flatter stomach because there's less belly fat. One thing you can do is you can take half a teaspoon of baking soda and put in an 8-ounce glass of water, and you can drink it in the morning. That alkalizes the acidity in your body, and when we do that, then we have less reaction, we have less belly fat, and so you enjoy a flatter stomach. Another thing you can do is you can take a table or 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in an 8-ounce glass of water, and you can also drink it. Apple cider vinegar is fantastic. It has research to back up that it can help improve belly fat. So you can do this in addition to the baking soda or in lieu of the baking soda. Now, I've never really seen anybody put the baking soda and the apple cider vinegar together in the same 8-ounce glass of water. But if, let's say, you do apple cider vinegar Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then you can do the baking soda Tuesday or Thursday. And for the apple cider vinegar, it can be a little much for some people. So start with maybe a teaspoon and work your way up to 2 tablespoons in an 8-ounce glass of water. And if it's too much, the vinegar part of it, you can drink it with a straw, just like that. So this has been also helpful in improving belly fat. And the reason why is that it simply works on the belly fat, but it also neutralizes the acidity in the stomach so that you don't have a reaction and having a bloated stomach, and your stomach is also nice and flat. Now, I'm going to show you some acupressure that you can also do. 2 acupressure points that you can do to help with keeping the digestion in your stomach in the most optimal way. And if it's nice in the most optimal way, they're less bloating, and so you can enjoy a flatter stomach. One is on the forearm. And ladies, if you're pregnant, please don't do this because it's too stimulating. It'll not only stimulate the large intestine, but it will also can stimulate the uterus, and we don't want unwanted contractions if you are pregnant. So every night as you're laying to go to bed, you can do this motion for 2 minutes. And if you do that while you are sleeping, the resources, the blood flow will go to the stomach to help with metabolism, and so you will wake up with a nicer, smaller stomach. Now, what else can be very helpful is an acupressure point on the face. This we did on TikTok, and a decent number of people actually reported that with doing intermittent fasting and this acupressure point, that they were able to lose a few pounds a week. And so when we lose weight, we lose it proportionally through our body, right? So let me show you that acupressure point as well. Let me do it a couple more times so you see. Very good. That's a great point to help relax the mind and also calm the body. And this point works because it can help to improve metabolism, improve constipation, as well as relieve water retention in the body. And as a result, you can enjoy a flatter stomach. So in summary, simple things, lifestyle things that you can do to help improve and allow you to have a flatter stomach is the following. 1 is to practice intermittent fasting. If you wake up at 7, consider eating at noon, a healthy snack at 3, and wrapping up food at 8 o'clock. And if you're going to do carbs, do them at noon. Second, monitor what you eat. If you don't feel quite right, or if you're bloated after you eat something, then you're most likely either sensitive or you're allergic to that food, and it's causing a reaction that makes you bloated, causing an inflamed stomach. So do your best to avoid that food so you can enjoy a flatter stomach. And number 3, consider incorporating either baking soda and or apple cider vinegar separately, not combined. You can do anywhere from a half a teaspoon and work your way up to a tablespoon in an 8-ounce glass of water. The recommended is half a teaspoon for baking soda and up to 2 tablespoons for apple cider vinegar in an 8-ounce glass of water daily. And lastly, 2 acupressure points that you can do at night to help improve absorption and metabolism. Number 1 is simply right here. Please don't do this point. If you're pregnant, do this for 2 minutes nightly. And the second point is this point. You can do that a couple minutes. It helps with constipation, metabolism, and releasing water retention. I wish you all the best in looking your best. Check out our YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram videos. We have brand new videos daily, and I wish you all the best.